It's Thursday, February 21st, Friday, February 22nd, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the snowy mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Deep Talk Radio and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping right now while you listen in our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and much more. Tonight's show is brought to you by the YouTube channel Ensuho. Sebastian Martin brings high-quality messages to the masses. Head to our website, click on the Ensuho banner, and subscribe today. Tonight, we take a look to the sky as we are searching for what's out there. Beyond the satellites and into the stars, we look for life out in the middle of nowhere. But are UFOs and alien craft coming and visiting this planet? Our guests tonight, Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah, are with us as they host this newly found popular YouTube show called UFO Network News Sunday, which I highly suggest to all of our listeners to check out. Frank and Chant have built quite a following with their no-nonsense approach to covering the subject of ufology today, staying on top of groups like To the Stars and MUFON, checking out evidence of the latest videos making the circuit of weird lights in the sky, and of course, jumping feet first into the debate about disclosure. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, Olaf Phillips is back from Paranoia Magazine for the SOR Newswire. Frank Stalter, Chant Hannah, welcome to Spaced Out Radio for the first time. Very glad to have your show and you guys on the air with us.
I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, I'm ready to go, Dave. Let's drop the puck.
Absolutely. Anytime we can make a hockey reference tonight, because I'm a big hockey guy. I know Chuck, who's listening in right now, he's the owner of KZFX and KDune. I know for a fact he's a big hockey guy. So if you're a hockey guy out there, or girl, make sure if you hear a hockey reference, you got to take a little bit of a nip of your drink. You have to. That's just the way it is. You know, because Frank's from Philly. Even though his hockey team doesn't fight anymore, they don't know how. You know, my Canucks and Oilers are just terrible. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. But we're focusing on UFOs tonight. And Frank, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about UFO Network News Sunday.
Well, basically, it is a podcast that James Iandoli and I started a little bit on the early side of last year. We got the idea together in February, got the program up and running in April, and since then, we've been doing as many shows as we can. That is what's been going on most recently. Obviously, the To the Stars Academy and everything that came out at the end of 2017 and early 2018 was the catalyst for that. But I've been doing this, interested in this subject for not quite a decade now. Started with a blog spot that I've got, ufopartisan.blogspot.com. Have a few articles over there. Not every time a thought pops into my head. Usually it's when I've got something significant enough to write a couple thousand words about. So there are a few articles over there that are worth taking a look at from my very early days of researching, going back, like I said, not quite a decade ago now. And also have the UFO News Network Facebook group. We've got about a little bit more than 70,000 members over there, and kind of migrated over into that. And then over time, it was just time to do a podcast. It was something I was thinking about and talked to some other people about going back maybe a few years, but it never came off. And finally, James and I started talking about doing it early last year, and we got the show on the road in April, and it's been a blast. It's really what it is. It's just another way to gain knowledge about the subject and share it instantaneously. So it's been a blast. It really has been.
Absolutely. And I want to give you guys a big round of applause, because you guys and your entire group, and we had Danny Silva on the show a few weeks ago from the silvarecord.com. You guys have really taken a grasp to this, and some of the information that you guys are getting, Frank, is pretty incredible. I don't know how you're doing it. Keep up the good work. But it's funny because a few months ago, we actually on this show during the SOR roundtable that we do the final Friday of every month, literally will sit around, and one of the questions that we were asking during the roundtable one night, this was after Jim Mars had died and Stanton Friedman had retired, we said, who's the next phase of ufologists out there that could take this to the next level, who could keep that research going? And for months, there was nobody. And then all of a sudden, we start hearing about Danny Silva and Frank Stetler and Chant Hannah and James Iandoli and this Chris Wolford and this entire group of people who are out there who are doing very, very good work trying to get information. And I can say as a journalist, I'm like, where the heck are you guys coming up with this stuff? This is good stuff. This is good reads. So how quickly has your popularity shot up, and has that surprised you?
Well, it's here and there. Definitely when we have certain guests on, when Grant Cameron comes on, who's been a good friend of the show.
Yes.
Another guy, Dave Beatty, who had been a MUFON investigator going back in the day, but kind of got back into it again with the recent heightened attention that the UFO stuff's been getting. He put together a little documentary movie about the Nimitz case, the case out on the Pacific Coast back in 2004 that's gotten so much attention. He put together a little documentary on that. We had him on. I could see where Dave was going, so we had him on like the second show that we did, and the film didn't come out till I think like 7 months later. But it's really just a question of keeping your eyes open and jumping on your opportunities. That's really about it.
Absolutely, and we bring in
jumping
Hannah
on those rebounds and putting them in the back of the net. How's that?
There you go. Absolutely. Anytime you can pop a backhand top shelf, it's always a good time. Always a good time. It's a difficult way to score. Chant Hannah is also with us tonight. You're part of this team, and you are someone who is also an experiencer of something strange and weird. And
yes.
Let's let the audience get to know you. Did you believe in UFOs before all of a sudden one day you had some missing time?
I just remember, ever since I can remember, not ever having a problem with imagining another race other than, humans. It just was natural for me. I had a natural inclination to imagine extraterrestrials, and I have no idea why. I can tell you, after high school, I did something I always did, which was go camping with friends. And on this particular occasion, I went with a boyfriend at the time of 5 years, and we went into the national forest in the Southwest, 3 of us. He was driving us up into the mountains, and I was sitting in the middle, and there was a person who was a very good friend of ours to the right, the pastor's son. And I just remember looking at a star that got bigger and bigger, and it was dusk. And I said, do you see that star? And I said, it's getting bigger. And it suddenly became the size of a lamppost light. And then we saw swirling pink and purple lights and other colors. And I know that we were all cognizant of noticing it because we were slack-jawed, staring at this strange event. Then everything went blank. And I just remember waking up as I was driving us back down the mountain. And so my boyfriend was then sitting to the right of me, and that other passenger we had was still sitting in the same seat. And when we drove into town, then the bizarreness began.
Very nice, very nice. And since then, have you had further contact or missing time?
No, I've not had missing time since then, but I've had some extremely strange occurrences that may or may not have been, be connected to what occurred. I can tell you everyone's behavior was extremely bizarre, to the point where after we got back into town, well, I can tell you this. When I woke up while we were driving back down the mountain, we, by the way, don't ever remember having camped out at all. We don't remember anything. The behavior of my boyfriend was out of character, and we broke up that day. And, it was odd because we had such a great relationship going. And then the pastor's son never acknowledged me from that point on publicly. Even though we hung out on a regular basis, he refused to look at me in the eye. He became very tense and edgy, and my boyfriend became my ex-boyfriend that day, and we never talked again until 20 years later when he called me up to apologize for his behavior.
That must have been 20 years of a lot of heavy weight weighing on his shoulders because, I mean, you're young, you're 18 years old, you're not supposed to be going through that experience. So I can see where there was a lot of stress. I can see where there was a lot of pain and aching and not understanding anything that was going on. When you had that experience, how did it change you and your daily life?
It changed everything because we were going out all through high school, and having a steady relationship like that in high school is kind of important to some people. It was important to me, and he was sort of my go-to person as a support system for everything. And so when we broke up that day, which I certainly didn't want to do that, it was like actually the event that occurred to us caused that to happen. It wasn't like he wanted to do it. It was like we were on autopilot, as sort of actors in a play, playing out some kind of role. And it was just very strange behavior. I can tell you this, I was so aghast regarding what happened that I literally was speechless. I didn't know what to tell him. I won't tell you what happened, but I know his mother was shocked, and he explained his behavior later and told me, well, his explanation was, I don't know why I did what I did, why I reacted in the manner I did. And then I actually told him what happened. I said, do you not remember what happened that night? And he said, no, I don't know. I don't remember anything at all.
Did you ever go through any hypnotherapy or any type of session to try and get some recall as to what happened?
No, I didn't. But I can tell you before, it's kind of hard to talk about, but I can tell you when I ruminated on what occurred, because I would just reflect on it often, I thought, am I ready to find out what happened? And I would always feel no, like I would get very emotional and tense about it. And then now, all these years later, I'm ready to remember what occurred, because I can feel like there's a section in my head that has something cataloged there that occurred, but I can't see it or read it. I can't view it like a movie. I would like to remember what happened.
I don't blame you.
Because we're missing an entire night.
Yeah, that sounds extremely, extremely insane to even think about. Like, even with all my experiences that I have had, I don't have any missing time. Yeah, I just know that they happened.
Right. And one thing, I'm sorry to interject, one thing I would like to make clear to everyone is we weren't drinkers. We weren't doing any drugs. There was nothing like that. The other point I'd like to make is that next day, when I woke up driving us down the hill, which was strange to wake up driving. That day and then that week, I heard reports on the radio about people having seen pink and purple lights in the southwest, the same colored lights we saw.
Very incredible. Frank, when you hear a story like Chant's, and in the research that you have done, what goes through your mind as someone who reports on this and somebody who covers stories like this and wants to figure out what is going on?
Well, I know Chant, but generally I would just say, record it and try to compile the data and see what you get. I mean, that would really be about it for that kind of thing.
But on a human level, where you are working with her and doing all of this UFO type research, and you sit there and you hear this story. I mean, we all hear the stories, and we all want to believe, but when it's one of your cohorts in this project of UFO Network News Sunday, does it make the story that much more believable because you have this person who's had this incredible experience of probably being gone or losing time for more than 12 hours. That's got to be pretty incredible.
Yeah, I believe. Of course, I believe pretty much. I mean, I'll believe really anything that anybody says in general, unless I've got a good reason not to. I mean, there are a couple cases out there where there's good reason to be a little bit more skeptical. But generally speaking, if somebody's got a story, I will believe them. Unless I have good reason not to.
Yeah, and I'm the same way with that because, too many times in this field, we get a lot of shenanigans pulled, if we can use that term. And with that, there's a lot of garbage out there. And you want to try and believe people because, people who bond with you, whether it's listeners, whether it's people who are in your chat rooms or on your Facebook pages, they feel safe that they can come out and talk about that encounter with you. In the time that you have had UFO Network News going, have you had anybody approach you outside of Chant who's really told you a profound story that really set you back or made you scratch your head? And could you share it with us?
Well, we've had guests who've told us stories that are just fantastic. They're fantastic stories, but they're well documented. We had a couple individuals who were involved directly in the Nimitz case. We had Kevin Day, who was the radar operator on the Princeton, and we had PJ Hughes, who was a flight tech on the Nimitz itself. And they came on and they gave us their stories, and they are fantastic stories. Kevin, again, was the radar operator. He was the guy who vectored the flights, including the pilot Dave Fravor, who's gotten so much attention. He was the guy who vectored those flights towards the UFOs. And PJ, he actually witnessed Air Force personnel landing on the ship, because they weren't that far off the coast, landing on the ship and gathering up the hard drives, the data that they were able to gather on the ship itself. So, when you hear stories like that, I mean, how do you not, when you hear them directly like that, it's like, how do you not believe them? They're telling the truth. The question then becomes, what does it mean? Can you piece the puzzle together and get a better idea of what's going on?
And Chant, when you look at that and you hear the stories and you probably come at things from a more of an experiencer's type of attitude with that, is there stories that you have heard that have really stuck out in your mind that have been brought forward since you started this?
I think the case that Dr. Leo Sprinkle studied regarding Carl Higdon, who was from Wyoming, and had an encounter with an extraterrestrial in 1974. Carl Higdon was a blue-collar worker who really didn't want to have attention bestowed upon him. He was just a very happy person who enjoyed doing what he did. And then suddenly, out in the mountains one day, he had a strange experience. I think he was elk hunting, and there was a situation where he was abducted, taken to another planet, and then strangely, violently dropped onto the terrain of the mountain to the point where he had to go to the hospital. His truck that he had been using to traverse the area to go hunting was actually picked up and taken, I guess, by this extraterrestrial and placed in another area of the mountain in a place that just could not possibly have been driven to that area. It had to have been dropped by the air, in the air. And also, strangely, Carl Higdon was given a pill by this extraterrestrial to take, which he did. And after he realized he was extremely injured by he was pushed out of the craft, I suppose, and he had to go to the hospital. When they found him, he was quite lucky. They found him. The hospital staff allegedly reported that he healed at a rate they'd never seen before, and all because he believes he was able to take this pill that this extraterrestrial gave him. So these cases of high strangeness really meant something to me. It's not something that you hear every day, and they can affect you, psychically, make a huge impact on you. And so then the cases like this, and also listening to stories by Dr. Carla Turner, talking about how she felt aliens were not good for the planet and so on. Just interesting stories that she had to talk about that I won't go into because they're too long. That really piqued my interest.
Yeah, it's funny how you just get glued in. You get sucked in to a lot of these stories that are really, really focused on these topics, whether it's abduction or whether it's UFOs. I don't know what really messes with people more. I mean, the physical experience, Chant, as we got about 2 minutes here before we got to go to break, or if it's actually having that first sighting of a UFO and you're recognizing that it's not an airplane or a jet.
Right. Well, I can tell you, I understand the time constraint here, but no matter what, the struggle to understand what is happening, whether you are witnessing something in the air or an abductee, an experiencer or contactee, that is the challenge. And that is why, among many other things, I study this enigmatic phenomenon full-time.
Is that why you do it, Frank?
Well, I do it because I need a hobby, basically. And, this is the one that grabbed me. That's basically it. And when we have guests on the show, it's a diverse group. We have some people from the experiencer bent. We've also got witnesses, academics, scientists, researchers. So we try to balance things out. We don't necessarily lean in one direction or the other.
Yeah, you pretty much have to. You pretty much have to try and find that balance in regards to everything, because if you don't get it, it's very difficult, because you want to try and bring an unbiased and balanced approach to everything regarding the UFO phenomena and the topic that is there. But if you don't have that opportunity to do so, or the people who you are talking to aren't given some sort of genuine type comment, it can be very, very difficult, right?
Well, it could be, but I think we keep a pretty firm grip on the types of guests that we have. We do shows when we want to, not because we have to. We don't have a particular time slot that we have to fill. We can go as long or as little as we want to or are able to. That's how we do it. I mean, there's basically no rules other than we want to put good information out there and share good information with the listeners and gain good knowledge for ourselves.
Right on. Frank Stalter, Chant Hannah are our guests tonight on Spaced Out Radio. They are with UFO Network News Sunday YouTube channel, so make sure you type in UFO Network News Sunday on YouTube, pull up their channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're going to get more into UFOs, ufology, disclosure. Lots to hit tonight on the Mighty SORs. We talk UFOs all night long.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want, when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Good to have you here. Now, tonight on the show, we have Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah joining us tonight on the Mighty Show, and they are from UFO News Network Sundays. And while we're just waiting for them to get back on here, because for some reason Skype has just signed me out. I don't know why, but Skype just literally said, we got a little bit of a security thing here. We gotta sign you out. So I'm just having to sign back in here. And, the best thing that I can say is what you want to do is you want to go to our website. You want to go to spacedoutradio.com. Spacedoutradio.com. And what you want to do is you want to hang out with us. You want to be with us. Yeah, we got you. My Skype decided to... My Skype decided to all of a sudden log out. I don't know why, but it decided to log you out. And like, security thing. We got to log you out because you haven't logged out today. Typical. But like I was saying to our listeners, while you are hanging out with us and listening on in, what you want to do is you want to go to our website, spacedoutradio.com, click on the shop, go get yourself a t-shirt, a hat, coffee mug, hoodies, socks, whatever. We got it there. Go check it out. It's a good way to support the show. Definitely a good way to support the show. Frank Stalter, Chant Hannah, once again, UFO News Network Sunday. You can find it on YouTube. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's a pleasure to be on. Having a lot of fun.
Not a problem. We're going to get deep into ufology right now because 2018, Chant, was considered the year of the UFO. It was probably the most popular year for the last 3 decades in regards to what happened with the phenomena. We had a lot of videos. We had David Fravor come out. We had the Stars Academy bring out the videos. Everybody's talking UFOs, especially in the mainstream. 2019 really doesn't seem to be slowing down because we're still getting a lot of reaction towards the field of ufology. When you look at this year already, we're 2 months in almost, and yet there seems to be no slowing down of the entire questions about UFOs. Do you think that's good for the field, or do you think right now that there's so many opinions out there that people have that we really got to start bringing it all together?
Gosh, that's such a multi-tiered question, and there's so many areas I could start off with. I would like to say there is a genuine UFO phenomenon, is what I've come to as a conclusion after all the decades of reading, research, and studying this strange topic. I think the more I learn, the less I know. We can cite all the references, cases, incidents, and more that we want, but in the end, no matter how little or how much evidence or as rare as it is proof we have, it's still up to all of us singly or collectively to decide for ourselves where we stand on this topic. Now, Tom DeLonge, it doesn't help when he does a post in a very grandiose fashion, bragging about who he has brought on to TTSA, talking about his little old company in that manner, and then also strangely doing a post on the old Swiss farmer, was Billy Myers, one of his pictures of some UFO junk in the air. When he does things like that, it causes people like us who take this topic very seriously to wonder, why such strange behavior? And why would he post something on regarding someone who I believe a lot of people think that well, that's basically hoax-related junk. I would also like to bring up, look, the Travis Walton case. I know I'm going really far back here, and that's still an intriguing case that rings of so much authenticity that people still refer to that to this day, although that happened so many years ago. We can rely on the fact that he did 15 polygraph tests based on normal scientific polygraph testing. And then also, I would like to bring up Bob Lazar. He did have polygraph examiner by Terry Tavernetti, the former LA cop who put Lazar through 4 tests and concluded there was no attempt to deceive. He felt there was credibility regarding what Lazar had to say. He sent the results to 3 polyographers, and all found the results truthful. Again, that was back in the day. But as far as right now, I'm not sure. I think Frank could probably speak better to that.
Yeah,
I
Frank,
generally
let's get you in here. Let's get you in here because, I mean, the field of ufology, Frank, it has changed so much in such a short amount of time. I'm not very sure that a lot of people have been able to handle the changes properly.
Well, it's been a good year and change. The last year and change has been good, and TTSA has been the catalyst for that. You don't have to like everything they did, but you really can't deny it. DeLong has put an interesting team together. Chant had mentioned something that they just added a new guy, apparently, to the team who had been essentially the MIS director for the White House recently, a guy named Chris Herndon. That's a pretty good get. There's no denying that. I mean, why would Herndon join a team like DeLong's after recently being like I said, basically the MIS guy at the White House to join his team? Now, DeLong recently was in Italy, and he said one of the things that they're working on, a couple of things they're working on. One of them is they're looking to launch satellites with laser beams. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that, but he also talked about putting together an artificial intelligence database to plug a lot of UFO data into and see what they come up with. My guess would be that a guy like this Chris Herndon would be involved in that. Again, that's a good get. They tease a lot. I don't like everything they do. They seem to be making the recurring mistakes of putting up pictures that are either fake or that aren't of UFOs at all and saying that they are, or CGI videos. They've done that sort of thing. They've done it so many times. In fact, I would go so far to say that it's not a mistake and that it's part of their strategy, such as it is. And I obviously don't think that's a good strategy, but they don't listen to me. I'm not on their advisory board, so they're not listening to me. I think that they should be a little bit straighter, a little bit more straightforward. They're not doing that. They're, teasing things, but they've also definitely got some deals hooked up. They've got some material coming out, TV show, documentary, that type of thing coming down the pike. And if I had really good UFO information, I got to tell you where I would go with it. I would go with it on my website, my podcast, my Facebook group. I would want to control how that information comes out. And if they've got this material coming out, I would do the same thing. I would hold that information and put it out within the framework of my own production. That's how I would do it. I think that's how most people would do it. I think if somebody came to you with some really hot UFO information, Dave, you would put it out on your show and you wouldn't be contacting the CBC,
Dave, I would like...
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Chase.
Well, I would like, I'd like to mention that there was a lot of negative talk in the UFO community when Corbell and Bob Lazar did a show with Glockner, Tyler Glockner of Secure Team 10, who frankly does not have a good reputation. I think Scott Brando, who is a debunker and does a good job of due diligence regarding checking out whether something is a hoax or not. Everybody was extremely disappointed that they did that interview with Tyler Glockner. And And then just running back to Tom DeLonge, I would like to mention he does have what he believes is a revolutionary breakthrough, as he puts it, with the Atom Materials Science Project. And that, again, I'm just quoting him here, he has completed the program plans for beamed energy propulsion and space-time metrics. Then he also mentions that they've brought on a new TTSA advisory board member, Chris Herndon from the White House, who has decades of U.S. government experience, and until recently he was a chief information officer overseeing all secure communications of the executive branch. So now, look, if Tom boasts, rightfully so, he can do that because he has just an all-star cast, and I think TTSA is named aptly. But we are just, I'm tired of waiting for them to come out with something. Now, I do suspect, I've been asked a lot, what do you think is going on? I'll tell you, this is what I think. I think that there could be some metamaterials or some kind of alloys that they may have been able to do science related testing on that could be extraterrestrial related, but they're not going to reveal that until they feel like there's a good time to do so. I'd also like to say something different, and that is I believe that they have a very sanitized manner in how they disclose things, and they have a program regarding that. There was a story going around that Luis Elizondo, who was invited to a MUFON symposium, got a call from Tom DeLonge to actually not do the talk because he was afraid that Luis would be treated badly, and so Luis pulled out of that talk.
Chant, just to jump in, that was earlier in the year with the UFO Congress, but Elizondo did do the MUFON conference in July. He did, yeah.
I'm glad you corrected me on that. But one point I'd like to make about that, thank you, Frank, is that all the same, he did get a call from Tom warning him about the possibility of negativity that he might have towards him. So again, they do have an agenda, which is understandable, but they're doing things in a very careful manner. Again, the frustration, though, is just waiting. I'm not following him step by step anymore.
Well, you know what? You bring up a couple of good points there, and I want to start off with the Jeremy Corbell and Bob Lazar going on Secure Team 10. I asked Jeremy about the reason why they did that, and because I was quite baffled that he would do that. And I asked, and Jeremy, to his credit, he took the question, and I thought he answered it very, very interestingly, and the way he put it was, I'm
okay with it. Just to jump in, I'm okay with what he did on that.
See,
go ahead. What did he tell you?
See, I wasn't okay with it because there's a lot of good outlets that interview should have happened. I'm not saying it should have been this show. It could have been others. You know what I'm saying? It could have been others that were more credible and weren't known as a hoaxing site. Now, Tyler, for the record, will go on, and he's done a great job. He's got 2.1 million followers on Secure Team 10 on YouTube, and good for him. He's making money off of it, even better. And he discloses that he knows that a lot of the videos he posts may not be UFOs. He's very vague, but at least he admits it. And I think that's good of him. But on the flip side, for credibility-wise, I don't think it was a good place for Jeremy and Bob. But when I heard Jeremy's explanation of it on this show, where he stated that the reason why they did was because of the 2.1 million followers. That was the only reason. They had the television interview, that they were doing all over the place. They had the radio shows because they did coast to coast. And now they were looking for the digital, where if you're going to go on the digital side and get things done, you might as well go to the big dog on campus, which is Tyler Glockner and Secure Team 10. Credibility-wise, I don't think it was a good move. That's my opinion. But I do understand why they would go there. Now, in regards to the Stars Academy, I think a lot of people, what they're having troubles with, Chant, and Frank, will get you to ring in on this, is the fact that the people right now don't know who to trust. You have this entire group that is coming out, and they're filled with spooks and ex-members, like we just added the former White House person, All right. And when you're filled with spooks and you're filled with people who are known better for covering up stories than they are known for helping with stories, that's where things get a little bit odd and a little bit crazy, Frank. And that's where people who have studied anything on this topic have a question as to whether or not the To the Stars Academy is working for the people or they're working for themselves.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about the TTSA, and that is they've gotten an awful lot of mileage off very little gas. But the gas that they put out, which is basically promoting the Nimitz story, which is absolutely a legit case, and some talk about the metamaterials, and it's a legitimate aspect of the phenomenon. And beyond that, they really haven't said that much, and that they're working on some new tech, and the proof is in the pudding on that. So as far as what they put out that has a fair amount of data, a fair amount of information behind it, it's been solid. There have been a lot of other things around how they put things out. You know, like I said, the wrongly identified images and video. That's and by video, I'm talking about that triangular video that they showed at the rollout, and that also DeLong showed when he was on the Joe Rogan show. Why they're doing that again? It's not an accident. It doesn't make any sense to me. Getting back to Jeremy Corbell and appearing on that show, I don't see how it really hurts his credibility all that much in this point. Corbell's a filmmaker, so that's his form. It takes a while to put together a film, but once the film is done, it is done. It doesn't really matter to me where he goes to promote that film. He could go on 60 Minutes and nowhere else, or he could go on Glockner's YouTube channel or any place else. Once the film is done, it's done, and then you watch it, and then you make your decision about it. It doesn't really make any difference to me. Obviously, the answer is for him. Glockner's got 2 million subscribers on YouTube. Of course, why not? I mean, we asked him to come on our show, and we don't have 2 million subscribers, and he didn't do it. So there's that. But I can tell you for sure, one guest that we would not have, because we do want good, credible information when we put together our shows, we wouldn't ask Tyler Glockner. I don't care if he's got 2 million viewers. We wouldn't put him on our show.
I'd like to cut in and say one thing. Everybody should go check out Scott Brando's UFOtheater.com website, because he has spent probably just countless hours dedicated to researching Tyler Glockner's hoaxes. That he doesn't say it in a general way. He is very specific regarding why he feels Tyler's videos, some of them, have been hoaxed, and he gives a very definitive history regarding them. And, it's just extremely disappointing to know that Corbell and Lazar were willing to do a show with Glockner when he has a history of known hoaxing. And that was my issue. I actually disagree with Frank. Frank and I don't agree on everything.
We never agree on things, actually.
Yeah. So I mean, I can just tell you that I don't care if Glockner makes in excess of 300,000 a year. That's fantastic. I'm glad that he has more than 2 million views. But if it's based on videos that are not authentic, then really, what is the point? It really. I would like to say another thing regarding that. Everybody I know involved in the topic of ufology are in it for the truth. And when we have somebody like Glockner doing what he's doing, whining about the demonetization of one of his videos because he's not making money off of it, what can you say?
Well, there's a lot that could be said, and I think, like with our audience, we want them. I'm gonna correct you on something, because we only got about 2.5 minutes. I'm not a fan of the word truth, especially when it comes to this field or anything in the paranormal, because there are so many people claiming they have the truth when it's just opinion and jargon out there. I think that's dangerous. So I know for myself, I've tried to I'm not trying to say I'm one bettering you, so please don't take it that way. But I have a real problem with that word truth, much like I have people using the word, honesty and integrity when it comes to hoaxing sites that are out there. I don't like it. I think too many people are getting the wool pulled over their eyes in regards to that. So I will agree with you on that. But in regards to everything, because we got about 90 seconds here before we got to go to break, Frank, I'm going to give you the final word on this one. In regards to the Corbell situation with Secure Team 10, I understand that you don't care, and I actually lean, no offense, towards more what Chant is saying in regards to it. But when I heard that interview, I was like, there are so many questions that need to be asked by a properly trained person rather than rehashing everything that we've already heard for the last 30 years. You got the prime opportunity, you got the golden egg, and you're doing nothing about it.
Or you're talking about the way Glockner handled the interview.
Yes.
I mean, basically, when somebody else drops the ball, what does it do? It gives when somebody else turns over the puck, what is it? I want to switch over to hockey, Dave. So I know that we're on the same page. That works for me. When somebody turns over the puck, Dave, and you get the puck on your stick, what do you do with it? You take it to the other. You take it to the net.
Absolutely.
They're giving you an opportunity. They're turning the puck over. They're giving it to you. They're giving you an opportunity. Take it.
And that was the big one. That was the big one is, you know, we could all sit here and I know I had people, I don't know if you had it, but I know I had people here call me that I was jealous, that I didn't get the interview. Oh, you're just upset that you didn't get the interview. No, I'm not. I'm not upset about that at all. I wouldn't care who got the interview as long as it was somebody who had a modicum of respect for the field.
I agree.
Not their, you know, I don't care about the pocketbook. I will never rip Tyler for making money off of this field. Never will, because he's doing something that a lot of people are jealous of, and I'm very okay with that. Very okay. It's not about that. We can get more into it in hour number 2. Chant Hannah, Frank Stalter, our guest tonight from UFO News Network. Sundays on YouTube. We're talking UFOs all night long, so stay tuned. We're going to get more into disclosure, what's happening in the field of ufology, and more. Your questions coming up as well on the mighty SOR. Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the show, it's the final Friday of the month, which means we have the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates. KDUN, AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. KZFX 93.7 in Ridgecrest, California. WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia. And UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hi to each and every one of you on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nudi Ustertian. What the heck is this, Clam? Nudi Ustertian is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. While you're listening, go shopping at our Spaced Out Radio store. Click on the shop tab. We got a lot of cool swag there for you. And, of course, you can always read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire and so much more. From UFO News Network Sundays, we have Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah joining us tonight. We are talking UFOs all night long. And right before the break, we were talking about truth, disclosure. Yeah. What is fake? What is real? Chant, you want to disclose something to us in regards to truth that you've been able to figure out.
Yeah, I wanted to share something that Chase Kletsky, who's been involved in the topic of ufology for many years. She's a very well-respected UFO investigator. She believes being committed to an ethical and professional evidence-based approach to the UFO phenomenon is really all we have. And I agree with her. I think fact and scientifically based evidence is the best approach to this topic, along with witnesses and testimonials from whoever is involved in this phenomenon. So I agree with you regarding that word truth. It can become a relative thing to certain people. But when we rely on scientifically based evidence and facts, that's the important thing, one of the important things.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that in regards to it. I mean, getting the quality facts and the proper facts are always very important. I think, though, there has to be some sort of modicum of respect, though, for people who have the experience. And I think we are so destined to try and push science on everything that we've forgotten the absolute, acknowledgement of people who are having major experiences where I know when I had my ET encounter or when I saw the UFO landed on the ground, the last thing I thought of, and I had my cell phone on me, the last thing I thought of was actually picking up my cell phone and recording it. I just did not feel any idea that I should do that. I just wanted to let it sink in. I didn't understand, what was going on. I really didn't. And I think we do need to, Frank, put a little bit more emphasis on the experiences people are having, because we're going to be able to tell what's real and what's not. You can tell by the stories.
Well, yeah, there's a consistency to them. It's a very interesting aspect of the subject. It's not necessarily one that I'm really focused on. Basically, that was sort of James's department when we started the show. and my area was a little bit more on more the case studies, straight up research, trying to bring scientists onto the show, that type of thing. But it is something that's going to be coming out more and more. A lot of researchers have been at this for a while, or kind of shifting gears a little bit and focusing a little bit more on that. And it is part of the studies that went on with ATIP and also with the To the Stars Academy. They're just not talking about it quite so much publicly.
No, I would fully agree that there is a lot of real weird stuff going on. And it is something that needs to be addressed and something that needs to be, pretty much everybody has to be alerted to it. Because if we're not alerted to it and we don't know what's going on, where do we turn for it? And I think that's the big thing right now. MUFON is in a lot of hot water with a lot of their situation going on, especially recently with the release of these letters from Philip Leach, former member who was kicked out because of these letters. There is a lot going on where people are distrusting the To the Stars Academy because of the fact that they are not giving a lot of information. They're talking a big game. They have brought a big game at times, but how do you trust a bunch of spooks? That's what it comes down to. How do you trust it? So in your estimation, Chant, when you look at everything, how do you tell people where to take their sightings, where to take their information? Because for a lot of people out there, they are unsure of what's going on because not everybody studies the facts like we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually get this question almost daily because I'm the administrator of many groups and I own multiple groups on Facebook, and I actually deal with thousands of people daily regarding this topic. And listening to people, observing their posts and their input regarding the topic of ufology. I have discussions with people daily on it. And when people ask me that question, I tell them it's important to write a diary. That's the most important thing to do because it's all about that yourself. First and foremost. And then, yes, I already know about the challenge you're talking about regarding MUFON. I know about it acutely. I've already gone over all of that information, but that still does not mean people cannot report their sighting or their experience to MUFON. They do have a website for that. It's very easy to find. And, they are the oldest organization regarding UFO topic in general. And so despite the challenges MUFON is dealing with right now, I think a few things. One is to write it down just for the person's, for themselves, whether they're spiritual or not. Also reporting it to any organization that will take the data that they feel is reputable. That's a good idea. And then also just talking about it in support groups, whether it be on Facebook or also reaching out locally.
There's also the UFO Reporting Center that Peter Davenport runs.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was just trying to remember his name.
So that's another organization.
Yes.
With MUFON, I have seen those letters from Leach, and I mean, some of them do raise some concern. Some other stuff is, to my mind, just the usual organizational friction that develops. But some of the things are regarding background information, regarding possible medical information. I would say, if you're going to report your UFO sighting to MUFON, don't provide that kind of information. They can't force it out of you. Just don't do it. Now, we had Earl Gray on our show, who's the chief investigator for MUFON in California. He's talked about using background information in regards to people who provide video or photographs, that type of thing, and he'll check and see, does this person work in the CGI field, for example? And if they do, that raises a bit of a red flag. But going much beyond that, medical information, things along those lines, I would have a real concern about that. Something that wasn't mentioned in Leach's letter and that Earl brought up, I would have some real issues with is hypnotic regression, that they refer some folks over to a lady named Yvonne Smith, who's got a practice built up around that particular topic. I'm very skeptical of that particular approach and would not recommend it, but it's something that they do. They talk about it all openly. So, it's just like with any organization. They're going to be doing some things that is A-OK. They did great work on the Stephenville case back in 2008, I believe it was. I mean, that was their shining moment. I thought that they did as good a work on that as any organization could have done. That might have been the greatest bit of work that they ever did, and it was great work, no question about it. Some of the other things, there are some things that they're doing that I wouldn't do, but I don't run MUFON. I have never had any desire to join MUFON. Never had I was asked by a state director very early on if I wanted to be a field investigator. I did not. It just didn't interest me. I wanted to continue pursuing my interests my own way. Again, the usual internal frictions, personality conflicts, things like that. That's going to happen just about anywhere. You just gotta, if you have a sighting, you can report it to them or to the Peter Davenport organization, or just sit on it yourself, or just share it yourself through social media or your own website or whatever the case may be. You have a lot of different options. My only recommendation is to kind of at least have an idea of what an organization like that might ask you, and piece that together yourself and put it out there, rather than just saying, hey, I had a sighting and this and that. You are more likely to generate ridicule the less detailed you are in what you present. If you present your material credibly just on your own, you're much more likely to get a positive reaction. That would be my advice to anybody who has a sighting.
Well, one of my concerns with MUFON, if we're going to go in that direction, we'll just carry this on, was the fact that, not only were they going after people which could, break HIPAA laws in the United States, which is about their medical records to see what kind of drugs people were taking or medicines or whatever they were, just to try and figure out what they'd been diagnosed with. That was kind of low.
I've got let me jump in here on this really quick. As far as your own medical information, let's say if I wanted to release my medical information, I'm taking this prescription, I'm taking that prescription, I've been to the doctor for this, doctor for that. I've never been to a doctor as an adult, but let's say that I had been. That would be my business. I think I could take it out. There's no reason, nothing to prevent me from taking an ad out in the local paper and listing my entire medical history if I felt like doing that. So if they're asking for that stuff and it's being, being voluntarily offered up, and these are the terms, are we going to share it or whatever the case may be in this database online? It's sort of up to the people to decide whether or not they want to do that. My personal feeling is anybody who's asked a question like that, I'd tell them to go pound salt. But again, and I'm not 100% sure what the reasoning would be why you would even ask something like that in the first place, to be honest about it.
Well, my other concern about it, Frank and Chant, is the fact that, last year, both Jan Harzan and Luis Elizondo appeared on another radio show together. And they made it sound like old hat that MUFON and To the Stars Academy were working together, and everybody knew that. I didn't see a press release for that. That is, to me, going back in history and saying, well, didn't MUFON learn its lesson from the Robert Bigelow affair? When Bigelow got involved and they were giving personal information to Bigelow's star team at the time that they created. I mean, that was a big concern for me. That something like that, my understanding you need to announce to the public.
Yeah, my understanding of what they did is Bigelow was willing to offer some expense money for some of these field investigators to go out and cover the cost of gas or travel or whatever the case may be. And that was what some of that money was. He did have access, and they did have sort of a star team, their own investigators who would jump on select cases that they found particularly interesting. Really, the one criticism that I would have the way they operate. And again, this is my understanding. I don't know this for a fact, but it's my understanding that some of the field investigators who opened cases felt like they were being shunted aside by these Bigelow investigators when they came in, that they weren't able to, sort of like continue on with the case, and they were basically squeezed out. That was one criticism that I remember. I think the reasoning why basically the money stopped from Bigelow was that money was not getting dispersed in a timely enough fashion. And
exactly.
As I recall, it was a while ago now, but that was sort of, I think maybe the management was a little bit different than it is now. And it was maybe a little bit older and more tired and not as effective and as efficient as it could have been. They might have had a better and longer lasting relationship with Bigelow if they had done things a little differently, if they had managed things maybe a little bit more efficiently. That's my understanding.
I agree with that in regards to that. But, here's the thing. When the John Carpenter affair happened, all right, that was a big one because Carpenter was directly sending cases of hypnotherapy at $100 a case to Bigelow's team. And he made like $14,000-$15,000 off of that. So you think about it, that's 1,500 investigations.
If you want to be a little bit critical of somebody, Bigelow does, he's bold. He goes on 60 Minutes and says he believes that not just that UFOs are real, he doesn't mealy-mouth that ET is real, that some of these UFOs are ET and they are interacting with us, and he pulls no punches about that. So he's bold in that regard, and he's very aggressive in terms of using his resources, which is obviously a hell of a lot of money. He's very aggressive, whether it's with MUFON, or you talked about Carpenter, or buying up the archives of deceased UFO researchers, and maybe, which is my position, that basically the ATIP program was basically an inside job by Bigelow to get access to the best UFO information of all, which is the information that is gathered by the U.S. military with all their radar and all their remote sensing information and their highly trained witnesses. I mean, that was the ultimate coup.
I would
Frank,
like to break.
One second, Chan. But Frank, a lot of people don't understand that the majority of the To the Stars Academy team is all previous or current Bigelow team members as well.
Well, sure, Colm Kelleher is over there. I don't know about Semivan. I don't know if
Semivan is.
About a prior connection to Bigelow?
Yeah, that all tie. Okay. Yeah, it includes. On the backside of John Alexander. Chant, go ahead.
I was going to say that's news to me. I didn't realize Jim Semivan was even connected to Bigelow at all. But I did have a comment to make about Bigelow.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's important not to forget that he's an American businessman. He owns a hotel chain, and the Budget Suites of America. We all know that he's the founder of Bigelow Aerospace. And according to George Knapp's reporting of he and his company for 3 years, his organization analyzed, collected UFO files and data on behalf of the Defense Intelligence Agency, and also built special secure facilities inside his plant to house the program, its files, and according to news reports, a piece of unknown material, reportedly a compound with special properties, that Senator Reid says he's unaware of any exotic materials at all. He denies knowing anything about it.
Well, I don't believe that by Senator Reid, but that's just my opinion on that side in regards to it. I mean, here's a guy who stated after the fact that, yes, he has been to Area 51 several times. Won't say what he saw there, but he has been there. In regards to the whole fact that I'm trying to get at, though, we actually, thanks to my intrepid news director, Gail Shirk, actually caught Roger Marsh in a lie, who said that MUFON has never taken money for any reports whatsoever. We brought that up to Chase Klutsky. We brought that up to Tom Whitmore, who's basically the financial officer of MUFON, a few weeks ago, and they both admitted that was wrong. That was wrong because it's all over the place. You do the research, it's right there in front of your eyes.
Yeah, that was very early on. That was like 7 or 8 years ago when Bigelow was hooked up with them.
Yeah, well, going back 10 years now. But the whole point is with MUFON, can people trust them? Can people should people bring their reports? Like, one of the questions that I have, and I put it in my most recent blog about this because I got a lot of questions about it, and people saying, why do you hate on MUFON? Why do you hate on To the Stars? I don't. I just want questions answered. And one of the questions that I put in that blog was about the MUFON SAT team. And so if you have a public group that is supposed to be the public watchdog and the public eyes of everything UFO going on in the United States and around the world, why do you have a private team that holds back information? And the example that I gave is, let's say you take the movie Signs, where you got this farmer in the middle of nowhere who finds crop circles. You call in the SAT team, you bring them in, and they come face to face with extraterrestrials in the cornfield, just like in the movie Signs. Does that not get reported?
Well, Dave, I'm going to jump in here and correct you. They shot that movie about 10 miles from where I live, so it's not the middle of nowhere.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Pick a cornfield anywhere. Pick a cornfield anywhere. And, but that's the whole point, Chant. Is they have this team that is withholding information from the public. If you're the public eyes and ears, why are you withholding information? And a lot of people are questioning that.
Well, you also asked, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you also asked whether one should trust bringing data to Bigelow. If it were me, I wouldn't. Nothing against him. But I haven't seen any benefit from Bigelow having collected all this data and having housed it. If so, where are we benefiting from that?
But that's the point.
We're not. He's hoarding the information, and that is the issue that I've got with him. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, but that is the big issue. Is MUFON is supposed to work for the public, and if they are holding back information, let's say hypothetically, let's say ET contact. Let's say their private SAT team has made ET contact or come face to face with extraterrestrials. Their job, with all the cases they have, is to be the public watchdog. And they're not giving the pertinent information that they need to the public.
Okay, that's a very good pointed question. Very good. Frank, I mean, do you want to answer that? I have a point
it depends on the information that they're withholding. I mean, you can't criticize them for possibly violating HIPAA laws on the one hand and say that if they get this kind of medical information, I mean, they shouldn't even ask for it, but if they're getting it, then, you certainly don't want to release that. We've got this experiencer case, but this particular person, let's say, is taking antipsychotic meds, for example. A case like that would be problematic. I'm not sure. Would you want to withhold that case or just withhold the information? It does get a little bit tricky, and what you release and what you hold back on, sometimes some decisions are a little bit difficult. I can see where there would be some ethical quandaries there in terms of not releasing some things, but basically, if it's a case that the type of case that you outlined, where they've got their own investigators maybe seeing an ET up close and personal, then that would be something that they should out with. And I think they probably would out with something like that just for the publicity alone.
I don't think they would.
Well, I just want to mention something a little random here.
We got 20 seconds for you.
Okay. Jan said in our last interview with him that he's no longer connected to Bigelow, not that you thought that he was. At one time, they were meeting MUFON connected to Bigelow, but he did welcome an opportunity if in the future Bigelow did want to go ahead and get involved with funding MUFON.
And he also said they did have a good relationship with TTSA.
Right. We'll pick it up right after the break here on Spaced Out Radio. Frank Stalter, Chant Hannah are our guests tonight. They are from UFO News Network Sundays. Great YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to that. We'll be back with more UFO talk on Spaced Out Radio right after this.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. We've passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. And don't forget, our website, spacedoutradio.com. You can head to our store while you're listening, do a little shopping, grab yourself a T-shirt, coffee mug, hat, well, you name it, we got it. And we'd love for you to support our show that way. Tonight, we are talking with Chant Hannah and Frank Stalter. They are part of UFO News Network Sundays, which can be found on YouTube. A great channel, good information. I highly suggest you hit a follow button on there because they deserve it. Chant, Frank, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio.
Yeah, we need some swag. We need coffee mugs and T-shirts and all that stuff. That's what we need.
Well, exactly.
Maybe a hockey puck with the UFON Sunday.
Yeah,
UFO Network Sunday.
Go. Mm-hmm. There you go.
Remember, Dave, we play for the crest in the front of the jersey and not the name on the back.
Well, you know what? That actually leads to a good topic because during the break, we had brought up somebody in this field, and I've never mentioned his name on the air because I will not, and people can figure it out for themselves. What do you think, Chant, about the fact that there are a lot of people out there in the field of ufology that are self-titling, that are putting titles behind their name when they've never done any work in that field? There's a lot of it going on right now as everybody is pressing to jump on the UFO bandwagon. Do you think that's a good thing for ufology, or are you like me where you think that is what beats up our credibility with people who mock us and people who are, looking at this saying, oh, that field's a joke?
To be contrarian for a moment, ufology is not like science, right? Where you have to be degreed to be in it. But then I have to agree with you. I think ufology does have a few challenges to deal with. One is elitism. Earl Gray, the chief investigator for the Southern California chapter of MUFON, he agrees with me on this, and that is there's an unhealthy competition amongst peers. This could cause a lot of negativity and bitterness. The world of ufology can be a small place. A lot of us know one another. Regarding the self-titling, I'm okay with it. Like you said, if people have done their due diligence, the hard work and research, interviewing like Frank and I do. Frank also knows I actually research this topic day and night. I might maybe get 4 to 6 hours of sleep. I'm always on the CIA archives, the FBI vault, all kinds of archives and libraries, going over the most boring, dry data possible to find any kind of data I can about ufology. One example I wanted to share with you is the AATIP budget, this ridiculous so-called amount of $22 million spent, which is a paltry amount to spend on what I think is probably a couple $100 million program, just a guess. But, going through 4 or 5 years, it was really 6 years worth of data, all those budgets, trying to find that hidden program, that took copious amount of time. When people say they're a journalist, and they haven't done their own sweat, blood, and tears work to earn that title, I do have an issue with that. I would also like to mention I did start something called the Global Female Researchers. It's a list of women to be honored who have done their due diligence in this domain we call ufology, and they have spent decades also spending their own money to just try and do in-the-field research to learn more about this topic and share the knowledge.
Yeah, that's a Facebook group. Just in case people want to join it. If they're on Facebook, they could probably find that.
Yes, there's also a list, and there's maybe 200 to 300 women on it now who are working very hard in this area, ufology.
And and I think that's great. And the fact is there are a lot of hardworking people in this field, and I would like to see a lot more women get their names out there, because there are a lot of great women out there doing some fantastic work. I think of Lorraine Fenton, I think of Melinda Leslie, Misha Johnson, Geraldine Orozco, just to name a few, Kathleen Martin, if you want to add her in there as well, that's always good, Linda Moulton Howe. And the idea that I have behind it, okay, and I'm going to sound like a real whiny sourpuss right now, but I went to school for journalism. I didn't go to school to be a doctor. I didn't go to school to be an architect or anything along those lines. I went to school for journalism. And that is something that I earned. I spent 10 years in mainstream trying to hone my skills. I think I did pretty well in it before I decided to make the decision to get on out. But the idea behind it is when you're stealing a title that you haven't earned, to me, Chant and Frank, that hurts the credibility of everything that we do, the hard work that we do, because people are not doing the work to do it. It's easy to self-title yourself, and I don't think that's a good thing at all. I really don't. I got a big issue with it.
Yeah, I also would like to say something kind of odd about journalism, and that is, let's just say there's a war going on. Let's just pretend it's World War II. You're in the field and you see people getting killed and all kinds of strange activity occurring. If you pick up a notepad and you start noting your observations, you in that one moment become a journalist, because you're putting everything into focusing in on reporting something. So in that case, and as long as you stick with it, you could call yourself a journalist. People can actually call themselves journalists without having the degree. Now, if they don't put in the hard work, though, that's different. I do agree with you on that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
right now,
let me jump in here and say something that I like about the field, and that is the egalitarian nature of it. You can jump in and you can make contributions. Maybe it's based on an educational background or a professional background, but it's there for you. To me, it's a wide open field, and that's the great thing about it. I'm glad that the mainstream media doesn't cover this subject in great detail, because it gives me an opportunity to get in and do something about it. I'm glad that given a lot of UFO researchers who had every opportunity to find out the same things that I found out when I started very early on, and basically that's all documented over at my website, which I'm going to plug, ufopartisan.blogspot.com. A lot of great stories over there. you know what? If somebody else had found that, I would never have had the opportunity to find it, would never have had the opportunity to write those up. I like the egalitarian nature of it. You could have a background in video or a background in photography and maybe analyze some of these video, or a background in CGI and make a contribution regarding the videos, or create your own videos recreating legitimate UFO cases, so long as they're legitimate cases that haven't been captured on video. You can put those kinds of videos together. You can be an historian with a background on, let's say, the Truman administration, and go back in there and look at that and piece together the puzzle pieces regarding what happened with UFOs back then. To me, the egalitarian nature of the field is one of the best things about it. You can jump in. There's opportunity for you, and I would like to see more people do it. Not everybody's going to do it great. Not everybody's going to do it perfect. Especially right out of the chute. You'll make mistakes. Everybody does. I've done it. Everybody's done it. But that's one of the things that I like about it.
Well, look, there's a lot of good people doing work in this field, whether it's Grant Cameron, Richard Dolan. You don't have to agree with their opinion. You really don't. But what you can do is at least accept the fact that they are working very hard to try and bring information. I mean, you can even throw, whether you agree with it or not, you can throw Tyler Glockner in there from Secure Team 10. He's doing a lot of hard work.
Yes, that's true.
For what he is doing. But on the flip side, you just don't see people who are established in this field deciding, oh, well, today I've just decided that I'm a Freemason, or I'm a firefighter because I have a hose in my backyard connected. Go ahead.
You also wanted to talk about who's leading the way in ufology. I wanted to say, it depends for some who their heroes are. For some, it's still people who are gone, such as Dr. J. Allen Hynek, Bud Hopkins, John Keel, Dr. Roger Lear, and a few other iconic characters who are pioneers in the domain of ufology. For others, it is Dr. Irena Scott, as you said, Kathleen Martin, niece of Betty and Barney Hill, Dr. Lynn Katai, the Phoenix Lights, Chase Kletzky, Jen Stein, as you said, Leslie Keane, James Fox, Dr. Jacques Vallée, Dr. Stanton Friedman, Travis Walton, Whitley Strieber, Bob Lazar, Jim Peniston, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron you mentioned, Dean Aliotto even, who directed and produced the alien abduction incident in the County movie, Nick Pope, Tom DeLonge, and even all the people on the board of the TTSA, Alejandro Rojas. I could go on. The list is literally, you would think I'd be exaggerating if I said a couple thousand people out there are connected to ufology. There's quite a few, as you know. Regarding people that folks look up to, I think it's important, no matter who's leading in the field, to remember one thing, and that is how do you feel at the end of the day? What is your opinion on what's going on? That's the most important thing. What is your perspective?
And let me jump in here and say something here. When I first got involved in this field, I decided I wasn't going to trust any researcher's opinion. I was going to try to go back and dig, and believe me, there's plenty of it out there. Go back and look at the original sources, find the original source material whenever possible, whether it's old Blue Book files, Presidential Library online archives, things like that. That was the stuff that I determined. I wasn't going to accept anybody else's spin. I didn't want it. I didn't need it. I just went in and looked for myself, original source material, original witness accounts, that type of thing. That's really what, if you're starting out and you're serious about it, don't trust anybody. Don't trust anybody. Trust your own instincts and get to the original source material whenever possible.
Yeah,
that's my advice. Yeah, I don't trust anybody.
What's your opinion then of the way the mainstream media, Frank, has covered the field of ufology since the original videos from the To the Stars Academy came out? Happy with it? Disappointed? Meh?
Well, it's been interesting. To tell you the truth, the only negative stuff that I've seen was from one source where they actually posted a couple of negative editorials, and that was the National Review, which is Bill Kristol's neocon rag, basically. I'm not a huge fan of the extremes politically on either side, but that was the only place where it was really negative. There were quite a few editorials that were written after that were generally pretty positive. They were okay with it. Even one that I can remember that was written by somebody in Nevada for a Nevada publication who said, "I don't even like Harry Reid, and I think this was a good idea." So that was pretty. The To the Stars stuff was pretty positive. And again, there's different mainstreams. I mean, there's local mainstream, like your local radio, TV, newspapers, and then national. For the most part, that's television. For the most part, they're kind of behind the curve. Like it or not, Fox News is the television entity that is given the recent revelations the best shift. By and large, though, national level television doesn't really pay a whole lot of attention to the UFO subject. But the local news, and I've been running a news feed, like I said, the UFO News Network group over on Facebook. I've been running that for the better part of 10 years, and I've seen most of the local stories that have come out from local newspapers, local television, and by and large, they, with very few exceptions, really. In fact, I can't think of one specific off the top of my head. They give the UFO stuff a pretty fair shake. They're not minimizing it or ridiculing it or dismissing it. They give it a pretty honest shake. They really do. Basically, those local stories cover three different types of UFO accounts. Basically, they'll cover a local sighting, and they're generally pretty positive on that for the simple reason that local sightings generally come from local people, and they're not going to ridicule or rip somebody in print or on TV who's local, who has friends that are local, who has families that are local. They need audience. They're not going to trash somebody for something like that. The other type of story would be maybe an account of something historic. If there was a historic case that happened within the vicinity, that's part of local lore. They're not going to rip that. And the third type of story that they do is the story where there's an event, a conference, somebody's making a presentation locally. And again, local media does a real good job as far as being boosters. So if something's happening locally, regardless of what it is, they're going to get behind it. So local media has generally given the UFO stuff a pretty fair shake for as long as I've been looking at it. And like I say, that's the better part of a decade now. So local media does okay with this.
Local media, yes, but I mean, the one thing that I was excited about when this whole thing came out, we weren't hearing the X-Files theme song. We weren't hearing Star Trek or Twilight Zone or that stupid commentary after the piece, which took away any relevancy to it. That's what excited me about it. All of a sudden, we were talking about this like, holy crap, this is actually going on. This is what is actually happening. And
that had kind of faded. Maybe I saw a little bit more of it when I first started looking at this kind of stuff. But the X-Files is what, a 20-year-old show now. It's I'm not a fan of it. I don't like the impact that it had. The kind of thing that you're talking about when a UFO story would come up, they play the music and all that. I wasn't really a fan of that kind of thing. I think it was a cliche. But still, the coverage itself has generally been, and again, with no specific exceptions I can think of off the top of my head, I'm sure there have been over 10 years, but they've generally given the subject a pretty good shake.
A few things. Wanted to mention Fox News covers, as Frank has actually, told me in the past, which he's right, covers the area of ufology on a regular. Just a minor point, actually it's not that minor, but on a Saturday, as we all know, on December 16th, 2017, an article came out written by Helen Cooper, Ralph Blumenthal, and Leslie Keene called Glowing R's and Black Money, introducing the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program to us, and I just found it rather odd, and that it came out on a Saturday when people would not really pay attention to that kind of mind-blowing news regarding what the government was disclosing. And then lastly, wanted to mention Governor Fife Symington making fun of, making light of the Phoenix Lights when that happened, and all the media jumping in and joining in on the joke when he had that stupid alien come out with him in a costume with his when he was talking to the media about the Phoenix Lights incident.
Yeah, he did switch around on that. Though.
Oh, he did.
He
yes,
came around
yes.
eventually, and it was also more than 20 years ago in a much different atmosphere.
Yes.
So, it's a long time ago now. I think we're in a better place as far as having the subject taken a little bit more seriously.
Right. Good point.
You would hope. You would absolutely hope.
I think it is.
We only got about 3 minutes here before we got to...
Sorry, it's not in such a good place where we're getting squeezed out. We've still got opportunity.
Absolutely. We got about 3 minutes to go before we got to go to break at the top of the hour. Our guests tonight, Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah. They are from UFO News Network Sundays on YouTube, so make sure you go hit the subscribe button on there for them. But in regards to the mainstream media, you and I kind of debated on this on Twitter, because I think the mainstream media dropped the ball on this topic for years. I really do. And Frank, you and I kind of had a little bit of tete-a-tete. That's what actually led to this interview. And I'm very glad that we've done this, because you guys are really cool. You guys are really, really cool. And I appreciate having you here. But in regards to it, I think this is a story that the media never wanted to cover. They were forced to cover. But I think they don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. No. And like I've said many a times on this show, it's not because there is some government official working in a newsroom saying, oh, you can't run that, because that's untrue. Fact is, they don't like woo-type stories. They don't. They don't like the peak woo. And that's the point that I was trying to get, is the To the Stars Academy did a great job at forcing the mainstream media to look at this project and say, this is it. This is right here. You better start taking this seriously. But the thing they didn't like was the fact that they had no counter to it. You didn't see Linda Moulton Howe or Richard Dolan or Stanton Friedman or anybody like that providing the counterpoint to what the To the Stars was saying in regards to this. And the media didn't look at it because they've never had to prepare for this subject, Frank.
Yeah, I would say that Tucker Carlson, who used to do UFO shows once in a while, even before all this, once in a blue moon. Because you got to remember, we live in a day and age now where one person does a story about UFOs and everybody in the field knows about it, no matter where it gets done. And so we have that kind of sharing capability, and that's a great thing. He had done this before, so there's an interest there, and there are a few people who are in the mainstream who apparently do have an interest. Dana Perino, who is I believe the former press secretary for the second George Bush, and Bob Beckel. It also happened to be on Fox, but they got into it a little bit about UFOs, and they both seem to be fairly positive about it. So it does come up, not that often, not as often as we'd like, obviously, but it does come up now and again. And when it does, I have to admit, I first got interested in this basically because of the news coverage that came about during the 1970s. That's when I first got interested in UFOs. I was 73. There were a flap of cases. The Pascagoula case was the most famous. Again, I think back in those days, it got a pretty fair shake. Something happened in the meantime, I guess, where I wasn't looking at it. I wasn't looking at it as closely, where, maybe it did get a little bit more ridiculed in the mainstream. But very early on, it didn't. Back in the 70s, it didn't. And more recently, from the mainstream, I'll tell you, the entity that is the most negative on it has been MSNBC, where a couple of people, Chris Hayes is one, and
Chris Hayes doesn't like anything.
And Rachel Maddow was another, who were very negative on UFO stories. I remember Rachel Maddow.
I got to cut you off right there. I got to cut you off right there, my friend. We got to step out at the top of the hour. More UFOs and disclosure right after this on Spaced Out Radio. Sorry.
Come hang hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio. The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you. as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Hi, George and Ori here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot Thal. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is Watching.
You know, it's hard being the bad man of ufology, but that's just the way that I like it. This is Chris George Zuger, and I'll be hanging out with Dave Scott and SOR scientist Chris Cogswell for Reality Paranormal, the second Wednesday of every month. And our job is to break it down and come to conclusions as to what is really going on in the supernatural world. I'd love for you to join us right here on Spaced Out Radio.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the show, I'm going to bring in some friends. We're going to have some fun with the SOR Paranormal Roundtable that happens the final Friday of the month. We take a look at the month that was. We get going at 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial stations. WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia. KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California. Over in Reedsport, Oregon, we're on KDUN AM 1030. And, of course, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans. On the digital side, hello to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio and Deep Talk Radio. Good to have you with us. Don't forget, you can check out our archives. They are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nudi Usterishin. Nudi Usterishin is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you. You can rock out to Bumblefoot, go shopping while you listen at our Spaced Out Radio store. Read up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire, and so much more. For the final time tonight, we introduce our guests, Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah. They are from UFO News Network Sunday, which can be found on YouTube. I highly suggest you go subscribe to their channel. They put out very, very good work. Frank, Chant, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
We're in the home stretch.
Yeah, I'm just thoroughly enjoying
is this overtime yet? We're in double overtime, maybe.
No, we're in third period now. Sometimes we go to overtime. It's rare. It's very rare that we do. But sometimes we just need it. We just need it, and that's what we will do. But nonetheless, I want to get into disclosure with you guys because in 2018, there was a lot of the D word that was spread around the field of ufology. I don't think it's going to happen, not for a few years yet. I think we're getting closer, not close enough to see the light at the end of the tunnel, though. Chant, what's your opinion on disclosure? Do you think we're getting closer in 2019, or is it going to be the same old for the next 10 months?
I think the question regarding disclosure is, will the public, celebrate or riot if there was full disclosure by first, second, or third world countries around the planet regarding extraterrestrial visitation to this planet? I don't know. At times I'm on the fence about it. I get conflicted thinking about it. It's a real conundrum, wondering whether people are going to continue going to their jobs 9 to 5 if they find out that there's really extraterrestrials visiting our planet on a regular, if that's true. Other people might care to the point where they have a full-blown heart attack. There could be some serious medical issues people have to deal with. There's all kinds of strange reactions people might have to it. We haven't even gotten into besides the socio-psychological impact of it upon society worldwide, what about the religious impacts? There's a lot of questions that we could pose regarding it.
I would agree with that, especially on the societal and religious impacts of everything, because let's face it, I don't think the majority of population is actually ready for that. Everybody says they are ready. Everybody says that I want to see this happen. It's much like everybody says, that's never had an experience, oh, you're stupid for not pulling out your cell phone and recording that object or recording that Bigfoot or whatever it is. When you're put in that experience and you're put in there and you finally have that realization that it's happening and it's real, that's going to change a lot of people's lives, a lot of people's, Franks.
I am not as sure. I think what we'll see is maybe some heightened interest, some heightened attention. But to be honest with you, after a short period of time, I think we'll pretty much just go back to normal. That's my honest opinion. I don't think it'll affect the major religions. So much has happened during the time that they've been in existence, and they will just make their adjustments. They'll go forward. They're not going to change any. Christians aren't going to start worshiping ET. Muslims aren't going to switch away from Allah and start worshiping ET or Muhammad. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. Even if the president of the United States tomorrow announced, we do get visited by extraterrestrials, it'll last a while and it'll go away. That's what I think would happen.
Frank, do you think that the United States government, being the leaders of this, and it all comes down to the world superpower, do you think, though, that they may have a real say in what happens and how disclosure happens? Because let's face it, if 1/10 of the rumors are true, that they know about abductions, or they have alien craft at Area 51, or if they have extraterrestrials sitting there, whether they're dead or alive, the bodies are there. Do you think that puts any pressure on the government to try and cover up those secrets and figure out a plan on how to bring disclosure or confirmation to the public? Because I think if the public doesn't fully comprehend what is actually known in the back trenches, in the depths of top secretism, and I know that's not a word, that the public may have a real issue that their own government has pulled the wool over their eyes for so long on this topic in the name of national security.
Well, what I would say is this. The TTSA's staunchest supporters would tell you that is what they are doing, that they're bringing this out. Now, one thing that I think is very, very interesting is Grant Cameron's confirmed this, and I would say it was definitely true going back to the Truman days. That is the administration I've looked the most carefully at. The buck definitely stopped with Harry Truman back in his days regarding all matters UFO. Since then, maybe it gets a little bit hazier. But we've got a current president named Donald Trump, and he has, made quite the issue of the secret government, the shadow state conspiring against him, so on and so forth. His son has said basically the same thing, that they keep secrets and all that. And this UFO stuff would be sort of proof positive that he's right. Maybe not in the way that he would like to frame it, but at least in the UFO instance, it would pretty well prove that he's right. Yet we're not seeing anything regarding that, at least at this point. So I think that is interesting. But yeah, largely, I don't think that a president is going to stand in front of a press. First off, the press is never going to ask him about it. And even if actually, the only guy who's really asked anything about presidents or former presidents or, in Hillary Clinton's case, a possible future president about the UFO issue with any kind of regularity is Jimmy Kimmel, So that's where we're at as far as the press is concerned. It would take I just don't see Trump getting in front of the press and saying, yep, folks, I've got the evidence right here. We know that UFOs, at least some UFOs, are really extraterrestrial, and they have been visiting us, and that's about all we've got for you. I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. So how does this move forward? Is it only up to the stars? Are the independent investigators going to try and get something done? Where do you see the answers or the information coming from?
Well, I think we've got an egalitarian field with a lot of people involved to the stars, independent researchers. Sometimes people do come out and say a little bit more, maybe once they get out of office, like a Harry Reid. It'll be piece by piece. That puzzle, I think, will continue to get put together. And obviously, any individual, I expect anybody who's listening to your show is already pretty well steeped in it. But maybe some more people get into it. Scientists coming forward, discussing the obvious. Radar is physical evidence. Yeah, there's something to this UFO phenomenon. That would be a help. I think it's going to be a public and private sector effort to, and not maybe get to quote unquote disclosure with a capital D, but I think the path that we're on, and again, this has been the best year for UFOs that I've been actively involved the last 10 years. This has been the best year for it. And I think what we're going to see is kind of my worst case scenario. I have to admit, I was overexcited and happy as a kid on Christmas with that New York Times story and the stuff that started coming out immediately afterwards. But I think what we're going to see is I lost my train of thought. Good heavens, I know it's getting late. I think what we're going to see is we're going to know more about UFOs at the end of this year than we did at the beginning of this year. Just like at the beginning of this year, we knew more about UFOs than we did at the beginning of the previous year. We're just going to know more. And and we have a huge opportunity to put those puzzle pieces together for folks and put it together in a simple, easily digestible form that anybody who wants to find out more about it can pick up on and understand. That's what we're here to do. At least I think as far as I'm concerned, and I think Chant's on the same page, and James, who's not here tonight, I think is on the same page as well.
Chant, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd like to mention that the Defense Department, the Pentagon does get involved in with Hollywood regarding a form of disclosure. Independence Day is one good example of getting the public used to the idea in recent times, amongst thousands of other movies regarding extraterrestrial activity on planet Earth. And also, they do have a department dedicated to actually talking to directors who are interested in following the agenda of the government regarding government-approved projects, where they will actually allow directors to go onto their military bases and use that as a backdrop for their movie. Pentagon's entertainment media official, Phil Strubb, who I think is no longer in his position anymore. He might have just recently retired, along with Dave Evans, approve or deny filmmakers' request to incorporate the military into their films. And what I'm talking about here, though, is very specific with regards to extraterrestrial-related films, so that the public becomes more familiar with the idea of getting used to extraterrestrial activity, whether it be interstellar or terrestrial.
In the end, it comes down to the public. in your mind, is the public chant ready for this? Are they ready for more news? Are they ready for more videos? Yes, it's exciting, and the topics are exciting. Every time there's a show on UFOs, whether it's television, radio, on the news, it's some of the highest rated programming that is out there. But on the flip side of everything, do you think the public really understands the fact that this is a real phenomenon and it's not just, some sort of Hollywood story that we've always been told?
I'm going to have a mixed answer that may not answer everything you just asked. I've really thought about the topic of disclosure and also just actually realizing, let's just say one day ETs are on our doorstep. They're just right there. It's undeniable. We can't avoid them. They're amongst us. You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid of humans and how they react at that point.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah. Also, I think the conflict I have, it's. I don't have a spiritual conflict with it. I have a problem with how people might grab their weapons and start becoming violent. And you really don't know what humans are going to do, much less ETs. By the way, would like to mention, I think it's mathematically impossible that ETs are not out there. I think they've been visiting planet Earth for eons, much longer than we could even possibly imagine. So if us humans, who have only supposedly been around in the blink of an eye compared to probably extraterrestrials, and there's probably countless civilizations of them out there, how are we going to react? I think it's going to be a completely mixed reaction. I think some people are actually not going to care. Some people are going to be extremely apathetic to it. Why? Because they're used to it, because they've had experiences and they know that ATs exist. I think there's going to be people who are going to become violent, and that's through their. I also believe there's people who are going to go into a shocked state where they won't be able to react at all. There's going to be so many different kinds of reactions. It's going to be hard to actually deal with it personally for me.
Yeah, there are a few people who are going to react badly, but there are a few people who react badly to everything.
Yes, that's
so
true.
There's always going to be that. People react badly to fake stories that are posted on less than credible websites. That kind of thing happens. So that'll happen. We'll have to deal with that. But there's also going to be a small percentage of people who take this, I think, the right way. They see an advanced extraterrestrial civilization is able to get here from wherever they come from. And they're going to say, what is it going to take for us to become an advanced civilization, a truly advanced civilization, peaceful, prosperous for everybody, and maybe start asking those kind of questions and maybe making this world a better place. I think that's really what it's all about. I really think it's the best benefit that doesn't get discussed about getting into UFO research is self-actualization, living up to our full potential individually and collectively. That, to me, is the key. And the big question that maybe is sort of putting a damper on disclosure is not so much are some ETs, are some UFOs extraterrestrial? Yeah, obviously I think there are. The question then becomes, how many of these UFOs are extraterrestrial? I don't think the number is huge, but I could be wrong about that. That suddenly would, in my mind, that's the big question right now. I think that would be the big question if there is confirmation of the fact that we're being visited. How often is it happening? Is it happening a couple times a month? Is it happening a couple times a year? Is it happening all the time, everywhere? That'll be the question. I think it's not that often, but I might be wrong about that. So.
I would also like to point out one thing that's important. That is science. Science will have to deal with the backlash possibly from the public getting angry with them about having collectively denied the possibility of extraterrestrial visitation to this planet. Now, there are some scientists coming out who are unafraid and saying the possibility of extraterrestrials exist. That's great. But let's just say extraterrestrials visit this planet. They're in front of us. Well, the manipulation of space, time, and consciousness, if that's what they're doing, science will suddenly have a whole new field to research. So it's going to open up all kinds of things for science.
Yeah. And that kind of thing is going on in back channels now. I mean, we know about this. We've had guests on our show discuss this. There are some scientists who are a little bit more willing to come out and discuss it a little bit more openly. But there are also still scientists, and I'm going to name a guy, Seth Shostak, who openly lies about the UFO phenomenon, saying that there's no evidence for it. There's physical evidence for it in the form of radar reports, and that witnesses cannot be taken seriously. Well, obviously there are witnesses who are dishonest, who are telling stories. Maybe they have some sort of mental issues, but by and large, in the reports that I've seen, the original reports, again, not going through filters of other researchers or news sites or anything along those lines, but the original accounts, when you read them, they are compelling. And when you speak to them directly, as we've had the chance to do in our show. And it's fantastic. And I love it.
We got about 4.5 minutes left with you guys tonight, and this show has absolutely flown by. But I want to ask you this theory in regards to it. A lot of people out there are thinking that our generation right now, the 40-plus crowd, is really not about disclosure because we still have a lot of old school ways and values. Yet the younger generations of our children that are out there, maybe the kids that aren't even born yet, are the ones who are going to be benefiting about it because they find that they are more spiritually inclined. They find that they are more spiritually adept in trying to understand a lot of this strangeness that is coming on. They tend to have a lot more abilities that they are in tune with. Do you believe that it's not about this generation or the older generations above us who are maybe in their senior years comparatively to a younger generation that seems to be walking away from the church and being a little bit more open-minded with their own spirituality to figure out what is what? Frank?
That could be the case. It's hard to predict where society is going to go in the future. I look at the world around me, and by and large, it really hasn't changed that much. But our communication tools have changed radically. We've got access to information quick and easy through the internet. We've got communication tools that we haven't had before. The truth is readily available. You do have to do the work to cut through a lot of the crap. That is the work, and developing the ability to discern what is solid information and what isn't. Again, the best advice that I can give anybody is go to the original sources. That's the best information that I can give anybody. It's a challenge. It's not easy. It can chew up some time, and that is the problem. Time is the most valuable resource that any of us have, and blocking that out to get to the truth on UFOs can be challenging, but I'll put in a plug for all the young guns. That's what we're trying to do, trying to get the folks the best information, not just in quality, but also putting it together, compiling it, putting it in one spot so you can get to it fast and easy and make up your own mind. That's our job.
A few things I'd like to mention. One is MUFON is not only available on Sundays. We're available on weekdays. I'd like to make that clear.
That was the original plan. We were just going to do shows on Sundays, but now we do them whenever we can, and we go live. We're not going to waste any time. If we get something, we go with it. We don't have to worry about going through editors or post production or anything like that. It's like bam, it's out there.
The other thing I want to mention is Frank just mentioned a few young guns involved in ufology. That's a term that Grant Cameron coined recently. Paul Dean, who is an Australian researcher who focuses on government and military involvement in response to the UFO phenomena. He's been working for more than 20 years on this topic. Paul Dean, I recommend going and looking him up because he's a great writer and very involved in this topic. Something I just want to also mention is this phenomenon called ufology. It's something real. It's not fictitious to me. I'm speaking on a personal note here. I don't have any facts or evidence to provide to anybody, but it's something that I cover on a regular. I think about it day and night. As soon as I wake up and when I go to bed, I will have thought about it the entire time.
Well, Frank Stalter, Chant Hannah from UFO News Network, I want to say what a privilege it was to speak with you guys tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I look forward to doing it again. We're going to have to do this and stay in touch because I think you guys are doing it the right way. You're having a lot of fun and you're getting some great information out there to the public. Good on you for doing that. Let everybody know where they can find your YouTube channel, Frank.
Just search for UFO News Network Sunday, Facebook group, UFO News Network, my website, ufopartisan.blogspot.com. Chant, tell Dave and the listeners all about your website.
10 seconds, Chant.
chanthannah.wordpress.com to see all the interviews I'm doing with all the exciting people involved in ufology. Thank you. It's been a pleasure being on the show, Dave.
Love it. Coming up next, the SOR Newswire. Stay tuned.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio Live with Dave Scott on the Deep Talk Radio Network.
Are you tired of being blocked, shadow banned, or placed in jail for simply posting your thoughts on social media? Social Media Freedom can take care of that for you. Social Media Freedom is the newest and one of the best free new apps that allows you the freedom to post what you want when you want. It takes seconds to download from your app store. Come join the tribe at Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at Spaced.com, where we own the night.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7 with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
You hear footsteps in the air. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app. Free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Hi there, this is Geraldine Orozco from San Francisco's Bay Area Meditation. I invite you to join me the first Tuesday of every month with Dave Scott for Spaced Out Radio's The Spiritual You. In this fast-paced world we live in, it's time for you to take some time for you. We'll cover every possible subject from powerful meditation to healing techniques to your own intuition and spirituality. So come join us for The Spiritual You.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thaw, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're bringing scientific thought to the paranormal. Hi there, this is Spaced Out Radio scientist Chris Cogswell. Join me, Chris Zuger, and Dave Scott the second Wednesday of every month, where we break down the who from the woo when it comes to everything paranormal. We'll investigate and try to bring sensible answers to those straight and sometimes outlandish questions people have. Hey, not everything has an answer, but we'll do our best. Listen in to Reality Paranormal only on Spaced Out Radio.
Hi, George Norrie here. Are you ready for UFO MegaCon, the immersion event? 7 days, 8 nights, 50 new speakers, UFO military witnesses, experiencer groups, skywatches, and so much more. Join me at UFO MegaCon, March 24th through the 30th in Laughlin, Nevada. Truly the one and only new information conference of the year. Now check it out at UFOMegaCon.com. That's UFOMegaCon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for tuning us in tonight. And we get ready for the news from the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine, which you can find at paranoiamagazine.com. And we get to the weird, the wacky, the WTF of the night. The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show. To give you the news that may not make the mainstream, but is still funny enough and weird enough that we want to bring it to you. And delivering those sultry stories is the man, the myth, the paranoia legend, Mr. Olaf Phillips.
Greetings and salutations, Dave.
Love the greetings and salutations. What's going on? You have a good day today?
I had a great day. How about you?
I did. We were kind of chilled, relaxed. I did a little bit of stretching. I thought about exercising, and that tired me out. And so I'm all good. I ate tacos for lunch, so life can't be that bad.
Nope. If you're having tacos, you're having a good day.
You got that right, my friend. What do you got for us tonight?
Well, I found this one rather interesting from the robots are going to take over the world group of news articles. Chinese student uses handwriting robot to complete homework faster. Is she a cheater or a genius? A Chinese student sparked debate earlier this week after her mother discovered the teenage girl bought a robot and trained it to imitate her handwriting so she can finish her homework. The teen spent 800 won, about $120, on a robot that mimicked her handwriting, the Guanjing Evening News reported. She then used the robot to copy Chinese phrases dozens of times for an assignment that required students to repeatedly write Chinese characters to help them learn how to read and write. She finished her Chinese writing assignment in 2 days. Her mother, sensing something was off, discovered the robot in her daughter's room and reportedly smashed the machine. The mother then took to popular social media, of course, Weibo, to complain about her daughter's tactics. She was quoted as writing in her post, "It can help you with homework, but can it help you on tests?" Several users, however, applauded the teen's creative idea to quickly finish her assignments that was given to her during the Lunar New Year break. "Give her a break. How meaningful is copying anyway?" one commenter asked. The New York Times reported. Another person said, "The difference between humans and other animals is that we know how to make and use tools. This young lady already knows how to do this." So there you go.
I think there's some genius. I think there's some genius there.
I think there's a lot of genius there.
I do too. That's the kind of person where if I'm running like a science department in a university, I'm looking at that young lady and I'm thinking, if she has good test scores or high test scores, that's the kind of girl we want to offer a scholarship to.
Oh, yeah.
Those type of brains don't come around very often.
Yeah. I mean, I heard a story once of a guy at a place I worked where he actually hired a guy overseas. He offshored his own job and then had the guy doing the work for him while he would go and hang out and do whatever he wanted. They weren't very happy about that one, though.
No, I can see that. I can absolutely see that. What's story number 2 for us tonight?
A Florida man became impatient on his way to buy porn. That landed him in jail, cops say.
Uh-oh.
Anticipation got the better of a Homestead man heading to an adult bookstore in Key Largo Monday night. Now he's in Monroe County lockup. Armando Enrique Guerre, 20, was booked into jail on charges of indecent exposure, marijuana possession, and the possession of drug paraphernalia. You can see where this is going, right? Sheriff's deputies say he admitted to masturbating while walking along a path near mile marker 102 toward the store Monday night, said Adam Linhart, Monroe Sheriff's Office spokesman. A woman driving her car told deputies a man, who they say was Guerre, exposed himself to her. Deputies found Guerre in the parking lot of the Bayside store and asked him about the incident. He admitted to masturbating in public and seeing the woman in the car, according to Linhart. He told deputies he was on his way to buy a video and began masturbating on the way because he was impatient, Linhart said. Cops said Guerre was carrying a small amount of marijuana at the time of his arrest.
Yeah, you never want to do the deed in public. That's going to get you a lot of trouble.
It is. And it's like, have some patience, man. Just have some patience. But that's a Florida story for you right there.
Well, I always appreciate a good Florida story. You know how I am with that. You know how I am with that. Yeah, fire away, man.
Florida man assaults mother with pizza.
Why?
It's a full moon, the time of the month where werewolves run rampant. Emergency rooms fill up with crazy stuff. And in Pasco County, a man assaults a woman with a pizza. Y'all, I wish I was making that up, but I'm not. Well, the werewolf part, probably, but not the pizza part, because police, I've got pizza on the brain, because police have arrested a Newport Richie man, Michael Stemple, for domestic battery, among other charges. Why? When his mom told him to leave her house, he reportedly told her she'd have to call the cops to get him to leave. And when she reached for her phone, I guess she was going to do it, he threw a slice of pizza at her. The slice hit her in the stomach, according to police. Now look, there are about 47 jokes I want to make here, many of them involving either the Little Caesars spokesman from the 80s or the Domino's spokesman from the 90s. Some puns about his slice, but instead I'm giving you the public service message about how to treat women, even when they make you angry.
Well, I got to say this.
Yeah.
If you are any human being that feels that you're going to use a pizza as a weapon, shame on you. Shame on you.
Absolutely.
Pizza should never be wasted that way.
Pizza is not a weapon, folks. It's a source of enjoyment.
Exactly. You know, not everybody gets... It doesn't matter how bad the pizza is. And trust me, up here where I live, I've had some pretty bad pizza. All right? It doesn't matter how bad the... Not where I live. Down near Vancouver, yeah, very good pizza down there. But where I live, no. Not very good at all. And I got to tell you, bad pizza is still better than no pizza.
That's true. That is true.
And if you're all of a sudden going to be using it as a weapon, shame on you. You should go to jail for like 10 years for that. 10 years.
You know, when I lived in England, the funny pizza store, when I lived in England, right? Here in the United States, Pizza Hut, it's like delivery pizza. It's like Domino's, right? But in England, they have actual restaurants. And so we went to the Pizza Hut. My co-parent and I went to the Pizza Hut, and we were just going to get a pizza. And we walked to they seat you. And we walked to the hostess, and we said, we want to get a pizza. And she said, oh, do you have a reservation? And we looked at each other. We looked at her. What do you mean, make a reservation? Oh, you need a reservation. But this is Pizza Hut. You don't make a reservation at Pizza Hut. This is wrong.
Exactly. Very wrong. Very wrong.
Very wrong.
We got time for a couple more if you got them.
I got them. 2 baseball players named Bradley Fiegel take DNA tests to see if they are related. 2 minor league players are causing some major league confusion because their names, their looks, and, well, everything else. Bradley Fiegel is a 6'4" pitcher for a single-A affiliate of the Oakland A's. Meanwhile, Bradley Fiegel is a 6'4" pitcher for the Texas Rangers AAA club.
Oh, that's weird.
Both Bradleys have red hair, sport red beards, and favor thick glasses, according to Inside Edition. Even stranger, both of them underwent Tommy John surgery and used the same doctor, according to Inside Edition. And it has a picture, and I swear to you, they look the same. Despite the similarities, the Fiegels don't believe they are long-lost twins, separated at birth, or even related at all. However, Inside Edition decided to let science make the final call and got both Fiegels to take a DNA test. Turns out they had one big similarity. The Fiegels shared the same amount of Germanic ancestry, 53%. However, they shared no DNA, which means they aren't actually related. We're still brothers in a way, Bradley Fiegel of the Texas Rangers Club said. To Bradley Fiegel of the Oakland A's affiliate replied, and we're always going to be Bradley Fiegel. And if you look at a picture of them, they look alike. They really do. It's unnerving.
That's weird. That is, it's like total doppelgangers on everything here. Total doppelgangers on everything.
They're wearing the same glasses.
Very strange.
Find a photo. It's bizarre.
How do you spell Fiegel? for people who want to look that up?
FEIGL.
Oh, yeah.
They look
very
alike.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that is very weird. Very weird.
Very, very weird.
Yeah. Just go to Google, Bradley Feigl, FEIGL. Go to images, and it's right there, the side-by-side shots. Yeah, they could totally be related. Totally be related.
I know, right?
Wow.
I read that. I was like, I got to do that. I got to do that one.
Yeah, no kidding. Final story for us, my friend, before we get to the thought of the day.
Ontario man puts on 260 shirts for Guinness World Record. An Ontario man donned 260 T-shirts at the same time to raise money for his children's school. Sorry, hold on. Oops. Clickbait. Ted Hastings said he was flipping through his Guinness Book of World Records with his 11-year-old son when they came across the record for most T-shirts worn at the same time. Not wanting to disappoint my son, we set out to figure out first what record we could possibly attempt, then the steps involved, and stumbled into this T-shirt one, Hastings told Timmins today. He said he ordered shirts up to 20XL from India and made plans to hold a record attempt at Polsky Strength and Conditioning Gym in Kitchener. Hastings said the event raised money for Bridgeport Public School, where his son and 14-year-old daughter attend. Hastings said after putting on 260 shirts, 3 more than the previous record, that the experience was generally awful. I think about 100 shirts mark. Sorry, I think at about the 100 shirts mark, it felt like it was possible. At around 150 shirt mark, I thought it was one of the dumber things I've signed up to do for a long time, he said. He said the weight of the shirts became constricting as their mass grew. You have to assume that each shirt is roughly a pound. When you're talking about shirts from 10XL to up to 20XL, he said. A Guinness World Records adjudicator was on hand to certify the record. The record-keeping organization congratulated Hastings on Twitter. So he pulled it off.
Well, you know what? It was for a good cause, but I don't know if I would be trying to put 260 shirts on my body. I mean, that's got to weigh in. I mean, you got to think about that. That's got to weigh in at, you're looking probably 70, 80 pounds, if not more, of T-shirts.
Right. Yeah, and just think of the sheer mass of it. I mean, he couldn't breathe.
No kidding.
Yeah.
No kidding under that weight. That is just terrible.
Crazy.
On that note, let's well, that's what we do. That's what we do.
That's what you do.
Let's get to the thought of the day.
Do it.
Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. In your opinion, what are most onlookers missing when they follow the UFO story and potential disclosure? We got some interesting answers. Very interesting answers today. I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to reading them off to you. Let's get to it, shall we? All right. Andrew states, who can anyone trust to tell their story? MUFON is having an identity crisis. Was there a government cover-up here where there is evidence at or hidden or sold off? I agree. Plausibility. Anything is possible nowadays. Chris, that anything they have told about or told us about the very phenomenon and the government's involvement is crap. Researchers have pulled out of their, from bad sci-fi movies or X-Files to sell books and dupe stupid people. Russell, that UFO disclosure is happening every day with individuals and small groups who are ready. Natasha, the consistency of witness accounts. Ben, former MUFON member, that disclosure is a myth. Kelly, or Kelly's beard, we're never too sure on that one. He says, I don't think that it's the general public is missing anything. It's that all they are getting for information is Ancient Aliens, Project Blue Book, and all of the other UFO-tainment crap. They aren't getting any real or true research. All the public is getting is utter woo. You know what? I'm going to change that to hashtag peak woo, because we got one of those shirts on our website right now. Teresa, description, behavior, direction, time, weather, wind, miles per hour, distance, etc. That's what we need to know. Gail, I believe most followers have ignored the practical logistical side of the ET issue. When they decide to manifest themselves, what will they want? Where will they stay? What will they eat, where, and need from Earthlings? Will it be a national issue or a global one? So many basic things have to be addressed, and we are still arguing if they are real. Catherine, no direct source. Right now, everything UFO related is just dust in the wind. Gone in a second. Michelle, I agree with everything that everybody has stated above. Very politically correct. You know why? He's Canadian. He's Canadian. That's why. Craig,
there you go.
To be aware of and accept the fact that mainstream media lies. In the case of ufology, it's often a lie of omission, ignoring the most compelling sightings when they do cover a story. It's often local news who make light of it. Cheesy intros like, and now for the story that's out of this world.
I like
Cooper.
those.
Not me, man. Drives me nuts.
I love it. So kitschy.
Well, of course you do. You wear plaid in California.
And shorts.
Exactly. Cooper, or Cooper's beard, we never know which one it is, that people are being abducted. Crop circles and cattle mutilations occur as well. Uncle Dale, clada virata nictum. I don't know what that means, but Dale's much smarter than me because he's got a powerful mustache, and you never know. You never know where it's coming from. Olav, let everybody know where they can find Paranoia Magazine.
Well, first of all, it's Klaatu Virata Nicto. It's from the day the Earth stood still. And you can still find me on Facebook, Paranoia Magazine, paranoiamagazine.com. Come by and say hi at Contact in the Desert.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you have plaid on because people are going to want, you need a plaid pen for when you sign autographs.
Oh, boy. Signing autographs. Ooh, that's a stretch.
Well, hey, maybe just give him some extra chin hair because you got a good beard going on. Olav, thank you so much for coming on with us tonight. Really appreciate it, my friend.
Anytime.
And we also want to say thank you to Captain Shirk for getting our news section, the SOR Newswire, all put together. You can find that at spacedoutradio.com. Click on the news tab. It is all right there. We also want to say a big thank you to Frank Stalter and Chant Hannah tonight from UFO News Network, which can be found on YouTube. All you got to do is go to their YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. They're doing great work, so make sure you check them on out. Tomorrow night on the show, we have the SOR Paranormal Roundtable. I'm going to bring in some friends. We're going to hang out. We're going to talk about the month that was in the weird, the strange, and the wacky. 3 hours of the SOR Roundtable, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. I want to say thank you to all of you listening in tonight because it's been a lot of fun. Whether you're listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in one of our chat rooms on Spreaker, or hashtag Spaced Out Radio on Twitter, Facebook, Revolution Radio. We got you all covered. Wherever you may be, thanks for tuning us in. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Remember, we got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Once again, I want to say a big thank you to all of you listening in, especially on our terrestrial stations in California, Oregon, Georgia, and Louisiana. Because remember, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.